I was skeptical, as you know, of course. With pride, I was a skeptic. After doing some research, I realized that my initial belief in it 5 years ago was incorrect. Nevertheless, my current belief in it and the opportunity it presents is different. In my opinion, Bitcoin is a real currency. Sure, there are some bad apples in the financial industry, but overall, it's a valid tool for generating potentially uncorrelated or non-correlated returns. Then there was that time I spoke with Squawk in the Street. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, spoke on a variety of subjects, including Bitcoin and the current situation of cryptocurrencies. Fink admitted that he had doubts about Bitcoin at first, but that his views changed after researching the cryptocurrency. By pointing out Bitcoin's uncorrelated returns, that is, its performance isn't tied to traditional assets, he now admits Bitcoin's legitimacy and potential as a financial instrument. Some governments are currently debasing their currencies through large deficits. Fink sees Bitcoin as a hedge against this strategy. For him, Bitcoin represents a chance to invest outside of the regulatory clutches of central banks. Bitcoin, according to Fink, can and will be a part of financial portfolios. He compares Bitcoin to digital gold and says it's a good investment for people who want to be in charge of their own money. Bitcoin is more than a hope instrument, it's a way to show off your financial savvy in these unpredictable times, says Fink. He still thinks Bitcoin has a lot of promise, but he doesn't see it as a way to make a fast buck. He thinks of it more as a way to hedge against economic unpredictability. I was skeptical, as you know, of course. With pride, I was a skeptic. I did some research and found out more about it, and now I see that my previous belief was incorrect. I have this opinion. Put it this way, these are my beliefs right now. Today is the chance, in my opinion. In my opinion, Bitcoin is a real currency. It is a valid financial tool, and I'm not implying that there aren't abuses like anything else there are. It's possible to have returns that aren't associated with each other, but I think it's a tool you should put money into when you're feeling very anxious. You can use it as a tool if you think that some countries are debasing their currency due to excessive deficit spending. If you have the chance to invest in a country's control, you may have more financial power, in my opinion, and there are places where living day to day is terrifying. Therefore, I firmly believe that Bitcoin may be a part of a well-diversified portfolio. In my opinion, that will be one of the asset types that everyone considers. As I mentioned before, I consider it digital gold, and I think it's important for everyone to consider it as an alternative to, dare I say, the worldview that I hold. Bitcoin is not a good way to hedge your bets unless you really believe you can make a killing off of it. On the other hand, I see it as a way for you to show off your financial savvy in a way that makes you feel less threatened by the world and more threatened by your own existence. Plus, I think it has a lot of potential in the business world. Deflation is essentially the production coming to us, allowing us to live abundant lives and achieve what we want, so there's no need to be afraid of it. The market is naturally in such situation, thus no economic system can prevent this, not from zero inflation, but from the implied rate of deflation, which is currently likely to be -5 or -6%. This is not a system based on politics. Your personal information is being stolen by this control system. So deflation is the natural state of a free market once you realize that, and no one has yet challenged me on this. Everything else in the current system is a kind of theft if you realize that is true and derivative. We become entangled in a political system where the only thing that matters is who can steal from you better. You're actually arguing that. Who ultimately reaps the rewards of this heist from you? To this day, Bitcoin remains the sole means by which I have been able to safeguard you from this threat. And that's not because it isn't a coin, rather, it is an energy-bound protocol. It's an energy-bound protocol that's open, decentralized, and secure. And it makes no difference whether you want to value it in terms of fiat money or manipulated paper. It could care less. It continues to advance without fail. Since Bitcoin is the sole free market force in existence, all prices are falling compared to it and will continue to do so indefinitely. All the things that are connected to the other system are not. Such a system is a controller. In opposition to the current debasement system, they will act. The house is a component of that, since bank savings accounts lose purchasing power due to inflation and the real rate of return is lower than that of the bank. So the fact that other things are required to provide value is inherent to the construction. Because you're attempting to store your wealth in a home, house prices are going up because you're taking out greater loans against it. It transforms a house from a place of practical use, as it did a century ago when people lived in close-knit neighborhoods, into a place of value preservation. After that falls apart, and the same thing that falls apart, it was government interference to cause the problem. To begin with, more people see assets as a store of value due to manipulated money, and then big money gets involved so they can store their wealth in those assets until they no longer serve as a home. As a result, it gains value. The depreciation of money is the very reason why you need to find alternatives to financial assets in order to preserve your wealth. Consider Bitcoin from the perspective of a system that has amassed all of its wealth, and I dare argue even more than that, while shielding its riches from the financialization of assets, such as the stock market. Additionally, if you're well-versed in financialization and believe it to be the free market, you can come across Bitcoin and wonder, how can I financialize more things with continuously rising prices? I can solve all of those problems with a simple calculation, and our economy is now heavily reliant on the banking sector. Also, my home was worth $1.4 million in Bitcoin 4 years ago. Now it's $2.1 million in paper currency. However, with relation to Bitcoin, 300 Bitcoin was the amount 4 years ago. The current price is $20 or 26 Bitcoin. After 4 years, my home will have a value of 2 Bitcoins. Therefore, it is reasonable to utilize Bitcoin to purchase a home if you need the house immediately. Keep in mind that the house's relative value to Bitcoin is decreasing to its utility value, thus you're paying more than necessary due to financialization.